There are times in every life when we have big challenges to overcome. We might feel outnumbered, outgunned, even without hope. But you know you're not the only person that's ever felt this way. You're not the only person that's ever faced big odds or a great challenge. I'm a fan of history, and so what I like to do is look at the people who have gone before and overcome. Today we're going to look at the Battle of Agincourt. It's France, and the year is 1415. The English had invaded in August. It's now October. They are going to face the battle tomorrow. They are outnumbered and they are surrounded. There are 3 eyewitness accounts that were written down and survived to this day, as well as a few contemporary accounts of this battle, which give us a great idea of the series of events as they unfolded. And there were 3 things that contributed to the outcome of the Battle of Agincourt. The first one was strategy. And a strategy that was used was to not stand out in the open field outnumbered and be pummeled, but rather to employ an ancient strategy of battle, even used by the Greeks, where you chose the terrain that narrowed, and that way smaller numbers could stand against larger numbers. The other thing that contributed was technology, and the longbow allowed the person using it to reach out and touch someone at a farther distance at a time when much of the fighting would have been hand-to-hand combat. The third thing, and one of the most important things that contributed in the Battle of Agincourt, was leadership. William Shakespeare even wrote a play called Henry V about the events of that day. Even if you're not a Shakespeare fan, you have probably heard the Band of Brothers speech. It's longer than what you typically hear, and there's a part at the beginning that is often overlooked, and I think it's an important piece of the leadership speech. But let me back up to the night before, where Henry decides he needs to go out and he needs to find out the mental and emotional state of the troops. So he puts on the cloak of a common foot soldier, and he goes out into the camp and he walks campfire to campfire and he listens to the troops. And they are discouraged, they are in despair, they know they're outnumbered, they think they're all going to die tomorrow, and many of them just want to go home. The next morning, he gets up and he knows he has to do or say something to rally them. Now, the first part of this speech that is often overlooked, let's do that part first. Because he stands up and says, "Let he who has no stomach for this fight be given his passport and crowns in his purse for passage, for we would not die in that man's company." He's not telling them that we're not going to die and it's all going to be all right, because it may not. But he's releasing the whiners, the complainers, and the people that are bringing the morale of the whole force down. It's an important piece in leadership, whether we're managing our own emotions and our own state of mental well-being, or whether we're leading a team. If you have those naysayers, those negative people, they bring us down. They dilute our focus and keep us from moving forward and lifting ourselves up to possible greatness. Then, of course, he moves on through the speech and he gets to the really famous part. "We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he who sheds his blood with me this day shall be my brother. And those still abed in England shall think themselves accursed and hold their manhoods cheap, while any speaks who fought with us on this St. Crispin's day." Now, no one can fling a good insult like Shakespeare. I think that speech is a typical example of that. But there's times we have to rally. The going gets tough, we're outnumbered, it looks bleak, and we've got to somehow rally, to lift ourselves up, to move forward, to spartan up, to set our purse down, to get tough. And this is such a great example of that. and we can. And Henry's not leading from behind. He's saying, he who sheds his blood with me today shall be my brother. He's not sending them out to die alone. He's willing to go do it with them, to lead from in the front. He's not slapping them around. He's calling up this sense of pride, this sense of toughness that they're going to need to make it through the day. And spoiler alert, they do make it through the day. They are victorious in this battle. So taking these principles, looking at our own lives, are you leading a team? Are you part of a team? Are you doing some creative work that's never been done before? Are you building a building or a project? Are you making a sale? Are you feeling that you're up against big odds and great challenges? You can rise to the occasion. You can lift yourself up. You can rally. You can do it. You were made for it.
He has held you.